Extraordinary Attorney Wu is healing, comforting, a warm hug of a show. But there's something else going on beneath all that gentleness, something most people don't want to talk about. This show asks a really hard question. What does love actually require? And what happens when love and capacity don't line up? And honestly, the answer is uncomfortable. Let's get one thing straight first. Woo Young Woo is kind, honest, and she loves deeply. She's brilliant at her job, so Woo is not the problem here. But the show does something brave. It explores how even the most loving people can have different emotional capacities, and those differences they can create real loneliness. Not because anyone is failing, just because needs don't always match up. The show beautifully depicts that even when love is absolutely real, the loneliness can still exist. Wu's father has dedicated his entire life to raising her. He never married, he built his world around her needs, and he loves her deeply, unconditionally. But in one devastating moment, he admits something. Living with her can feel lonely, not because she does not care, but because emotional reciprocity, the back and forth that sustains connection, works differently for her. Remember that scene where Wu tells him about wanting him to marry? It's such a tender moment. She sees him, she understands his sacrifice. But then she just gets up, continues her routine. The conversation is complete for her. And her father sits there, tearing up silently, because the emotional space he needs to process this, that moment of connection, it does not come naturally to her. When he tells her to help with the chores later, she bluntly refuses. There's no malice, just honesty about what she feels like doing. Her father says something painful. Living with a person with autism can be very lonely. And Wu listens. She acknowledges it's true. But she doesn't provide the emotional comfort he needs in that moment. Not because she does not care, but because that kind of emotional support does not come intuitively to her. And it does not frame him as cruel for feeling that way. This is not about Wu being inadequate, it's about the reality that different emotional languages can leave people feeling unheard even when love is present. Now let's talk about Junho's invisible labor. Juno is patient, kind, supportive. He is exactly the type of romantic lead we want to root for. But here's what the show asks: how long can that last when all the emotional work falls on one person? Juno says something really sweet at one point. I like listening to her stories. Who else will listen if I don't? That's genuine, that's love. But Su Young asks him, will you listen to her forever? If you won't, set boundaries now. That will actually help Wu in the long run. She's not being mean, she's being real. Because look at this. Juno eventually asks, super politely, don't you ever want to talk about anything other than whales? And Wu very honestly says, I don't think so. He laughs and sets a limit. Whale talk is only for lunch now. But notice what just happened. All the adjusting, all the managing, that's on him. There's another scene where he's clearly waiting outside to walk with her. She sees him, gives him a formal hello, and just walks off. Doesn't ask if he's waiting, doesn't make small talk, doesn't notice he's trying. And who is not being rude? She genuinely does not pick up on it. But that does not make it less exhausting for him. When an idea strikes her, she leaves Junho hanging mid conversation to find answers. That single minded focus is part of who she is. Junho understands it. So, Soon Young had it right. Don't promise patience you cannot keep. This isn't saying Wu does not deserve love or their cute love story might not work out. I'm just saying some relationships need more from one person and that costs something. We also get to experience how the world sees her. This is where things get painful. Wu defends Kim Jong un, a minimally verbal, autistic man accused of killing his brother. The internet thinks he's violent, getting away with murder, but his brother was suicidal and Jong un was just trying to help. But the family wanted to protect the honor of their perfect dead son rather than tell the truth about their living autistic one. During this case, a cab driver sees Kim Jong un struggling and lumps Wu in the same category, even though she's a lawyer, articulate, completely capable of resolving such small issues like cab fare issue. But to him, autism is autism, and Wu realizes that most people cannot tell the difference. For them, it's all the same. Wu understands this harsh truth, so she steps back from this case, not from shame, but because she understands how prejudice works. This isn't about her worth, it's about the structural prejudice that she cannot personally overcome, no matter how brilliant she is. She says something gutting. 80 years ago, we would not have been considered worthy of living. We still carry that weight. There is also a case where an autistic woman's autonomy gets questioned under the label of protection. And Wu does understand how love can be different, and she questions her love life and her decisions. And now I'll tell you why I think the show is so powerful. Because Wu knows all of this. Wu's self awareness makes this so powerful. When she tells Junho she cannot love him the way he loves her, that's not self hatred, that's clarity. She gets that love and emotional availability are not the same thing. The show does this cat analogy. Cat loves you, they get attached, they're loyal, but they don't comfort you on demand. It's not an insult, it's self knowledge. When Junho walks with her in public, people assume he's being charitable, like she's some project, not his equal. And Wu doesn't deny reality. I have autism, so yes, it is a disability. But she knows what that costs her, socially, emotionally. Even when she loves someone for real, the world's always questioning if it counts, and proving it over and over. That work never falls equally on both people. So here is the uncomfortable truth the show is telling us. Love does not erase imbalance. You can care deeply about someone and still be exhausted. Good intentions don't protect people from loneliness. The show never says Junho and Woo cannot work. It just refuses to pretend it will be easy. The show is comforting because we see an autistic woman who's brilliant, kind, and deeply loved. But it's honest because it does not stop there. It shows us that loneliness can exist even in supportive relationships. And maybe that's the best kind of representation. Not love conquers all, but love is complicated. It takes work. It doesn't always feel balanced. The show doesn't resolve the discomfort, and maybe that's exactly the point. Let me know what you thought. Did you notice these moments too? And subscribe for more such videos. Bye.